Andy, yes? No? Maybe? Let's have a look. So this whole situation has been escalated by the dreaded attack of the commentator's curse. Oh, they're doing so well at... Oh, no, they put in a goal. Shit. All surrounding the actions and subsequent consequences of one man. And that man is Andy No, a journalist who has dedicated the best part of a decade to exposing the members, its tactics, its supporters, and its infiltration into our mainstream institutions by Antifa. An organisation that many have said doesn't exist, from the craziest egg, a crazy egg, all the way up to the highest positions of power. Even though Antifa are regularly organised, they have shops with merch, fight the power, merch, these communists. They have meetings planned on social media and then routinely attack peaceful communities, destroy public and private property, looting as they go, setting fires and just creating chaos, exemplified by the riots for the last year across large parts of the Western world, not just America. Coupled with the fact that this happens every time, in every country, at every protest they turn up to. Damage. All this violence and destruction to affect political change. Effectively self-identifying themselves as domestic terrorists. Looking to push their identity Marxism on the rest of a mostly happy and functioning society. It's just a good thing they're not real then, So Andy No has become famous from his work, publishing books and articles and talking at great lengths about the subject in many countries, going undercover in some of the most deadly situations. I'm Danny Dyer. These are deadly situations. To report the secrets from inside. Well, sadly, he's been attacked again. And I say again because he was attacked once before by an Antifa mob who beat him so badly the first time that he had a brain hemorrhage. All of his possessions were stolen, and he was lucky to walk out of that situation alive. And the latest attack happened with Andy's disguise being uncovered at a low-level protest. Him trying to run for it, but he was tackled to the ground and set on by multiple attackers, only being able to crawl away because they were briefly distracted at one point, before they chased him into a hotel where he was able to take refuge. With the Antifa mob screaming for his blood, trying to break into the hotel staff saying that because he wasn't wearing a bloody mask, blood this, that, screaming, hiding, this, that, pounding, he's going to have to leave. No, full well what was waiting for him through those screeching and pounding doors. And after a while, he was able to convince them to let him out a back exit where he was able to escape and receive medical treatment for his multiple cuts, bruises, and bloody eye. All right. Whoa. Whoa. Those are the details. Now, what's the fallout? Well, the fallout in New Vegas between the political and cultural commentators and their takes on the whole thing. Well, more like Tim Pool and a few others kind of versus everyone else. Now, let me just say that I'm a big fan of all these guys. Tim Pool being one of the best commentators and fact analyzers out there. And a true contribution to truth. The Logos. Probably awakening of thousands of people to what's happening in the culture wars and even the wider issues at large. But these guys, bloody hell, they don't half bicker like old women across a garden fence. And the funny thing is, they're all right. At least their points are valid. Did you hear what was going on over there? I did hear that. I did. Did you hear what was going on over there? Yeah, I didn't like that. But did you hear this? Oh, no, I didn't. So Tim Pool's take on the whole thing was that there was effectively no good reason except for the fact that it was revealed that he was asked to write a new chapter for his best-selling book about Antifa by his publisher, which Pool accepted when he found out. But otherwise, there was no good reason for Andy to be on the ground himself, simply due to his fame. His notoriety for his amazing work on exposing many of the inner and outer workings of this terrorist mob. The fact that he has to move from city to city, country to country, to avoid being discovered and killed, it's just not viable, at least not worth the risk. For him to be out there on his own anymore, trying to do this undercover journalism and cultural espionage. That's cool, that, huh? Cultural espionage. I like that term. It's just too risky as he's literally being hunted at these events now. You know what LeBron James says about being hunted? Yeah, that's bullshit. This is actually true. He's one of Antifa's largest targets, with them spray painting in multiple cities the word "Kill Andy No" and the likes on walls as they riot. Kill Andy now. Underline, smiley face. And other such horrible messages to him as they riot. The goal of a journalist is to report the story, says Tim Pool, not become the story, whether on purpose or not. And it seems that Andy, through his fame or perhaps his infamy, cannot or should not risk himself or covering up what could be exposed. We need to see this just by being there. Okay, so perhaps he should be able to go freely and legally, openly able to report, right? Yes. But sadly, that's just not how the world works, fair or not. These being the realities of conflicts and the dangers where personal responsibility and common sense, they have to eventually become a factor. Perhaps hiring security or employing new unknown journalists to do the work for him and provide him with the footage to correlate and report on. All of these being correct. I mean, it's kind of hard to find anything wrong with that when you look at it, each aspect in turn, right? So the arguments or the takes of those who disagree with Tim Pool all can be combined into roughly these. Now, they have said that repeatedly putting yourself in harm's way is not something that they would necessarily do, but he should be allowed to do it if he chooses, openly and freely. That knows journalism has led to so many discoveries and arrests alongside bringing the radical movement to the surface of public perception, that though the story this time has become about him and his attack and his personality, they also show the story far and wide with him trending on Twitter and broadcasting across all screens and social media for those who want to see him or come by him by chance. Bring attention to his cause, the crimes and damage committed by Antifa and its extremist mindset. He did nothing wrong, should be allowed to walk on public property freely, even if admittedly a little crazy, a little egotistical, and perhaps monetarily incentivized. Give me that money, give me that money, oh, give me that money. And even if he sent someone out there and they got hurt, he would be responsible for their injuries or death, rather than taking on the risk himself. All of this he should be allowed to do, with Tim Pool's argument sounding like blaming the victim rather than the criminal. You got titties? It was your fault. And yes, of course, he should theoretically be allowed to do all of that. Theoretically. All this is and can be true at the same time, and one argument effectively leads to the other. As critics say, he should be able. You should be able and free of risk to do all that, yes. But then after that, Tim Pool says, once you get too famous for exposing a radical and extreme topic, the risk outweighs the rewards, and you either have to switch to a new topic to report on, or find increasingly new and escalating strategies to effectively continue your work. Like Hunter S. Thompson with the Hells Angels, you either get killed or run away just before you do. And one argument leads to the other. You know what I mean? All are true, and maybe we've just been cooped up, you know? Cooped up for a little bit too long. But anyway, Andy, get well soon, you crazy son of a bitch.